Losing a Hollywood actor is tough for the millions of fans, but it's even harder for the actors who worked alongside them. When actors work together, they form bonds and relationships that can last a lifetime. See how one actor gave up on the Star Wars franchise. Another quit acting. The characters that they play on screen may be fictional, but the real-life bonds and grieving is all too real.
Try to imagine all life as you know it stopping instantaneously and every molecule in your body exploding at the speed of light.
Mark Hamill's whole adult life has pretty much revolved around the Star Wars franchise. No matter how many other movies, TV shows, or cartoons Hamill appeared in, people always associated him with Luke Skywalker. But he wasn't alone, as his on-screen sister Carrie Fisher went through the same thing. Fans went nuts when the actors finally reunited for Star Wars The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, but everything changed with Fisher's untimely passing before the start of production for The Rise of Skywalker. While Hamill had come full circle to fully embrace his legacy as Luke Skywalker, things completely changed with the loss of Fisher. Along with the real-life loss of Carrie, the on-screen losses of Han Solo, Luke, and Leia has also changed his ability to get fully involved with the Star Wars universe. Everything feels like mourning rather than a celebration. Hamill's time as Luke Skywalker may now be officially over, as he looks to distance himself from the franchise. In the midst of filming Furious 7, the whole cast had to deal with devastating news of Paul Walker's passing when the actor perished in a car accident. The loss impacted many, but none may have been more impacted than his co-star Vin Diesel. Diesel and Walker grew to be each other's brothers as the duo started out in the original The Fast and the Furious movie before returning as the franchise truly grew into a major blockbuster series. Both actors rose up in Hollywood together and bonded both on screen and behind the scenes. When it came time for Diesel to return and finish Furious 7, the acting was incredibly challenging. Diesel admitted that he went through some extremely dark times, had trouble getting through scenes like the family barbecue, and Diesel was forced to deal with the loss of Walker while also pretending to act alongside him. Diesel clearly went through some traumatic times as he expressed grief on social media, and Walker's legacy has now become a part of his everyday acting career. With Fast 9 approaching, Diesel uses his role to grieve for his friend and on-screen partner. Some actors have the unfortunate timing of being on set when another performer suddenly passes away. For actor Michael Massey, he was literally involved with the tragic circumstances surrounding Brandon Lee and The Crow. A prop gun used in the film was not properly inspected before a scene, and a small bullet fragment was left inside along with the blanks. When actor Michael Massey pulled the trigger, the fragment hit Lee, and the actor lost his life. Even though Massey has absolutely zero fault in the incident, the impact on the actor was harder than you can imagine. Along with the shooting, rumors spread, urban legends were born, and people claim that the gunshots were featured in the finished movie. Side note, they were not. The film still needed to complete filming despite the loss of the main star. Massey was so haunted by the tragedy that the actor took a whole year off of performing before he would return to another role. Shannen Doherty has had a long history of leaving shows prematurely. She left Beverly Hills 90210 after the 4th season, the hit show Charmed after the 3rd season, and only hosted a single season of Scare Tactics. So when she decided to return to a show, you knew something definitely had an impact on the actress. And this time around, it was the untimely loss of Luke Perry. Luke Perry's sudden passing impacted all aspects of Hollywood. When he suffered a stroke and was ultimately pulled off of life support, his show Riverdale was still in the middle of filming, and the Fox network had already announced the return of Beverly Hills 90210. Doherty had already turned down a potential return to the reboot, but changed her mind after the loss of Perry. She got a whole new perspective and decided to go back to her roots to honor the actor she shared so many scenes with back in the show's original run. Doherty and the rest of the cast starred in the 6-episode series, which honored Perry. Riverdale's 4th season premiere did the same thing, dedicating the whole episode to the actor who touched so many lives beyond Doherty. Losing a young actor is a tough loss in Hollywood, and for Disney fans, nothing was more surprising than the sudden passing of Cameron Boyce. Boyce starred in shows like Jessie and Bunked, along with the TV movie franchise The Descendants. He was a rising star who co-starred with Dove Cameron, another mega Disney Channel star. The loss of Boyce came just weeks after the 3rd Descendants movie wrapped, and the impact was hard. Dove now reaches out to other castmates more, and has a clear view of how precious life can be. To help honor her co-star and friend, Dove decided to get a tattoo in his memory. The tattoo is located on her wrist, making it easily seen as she works in front of the camera each day. One of the more surprising losses in Hollywood was Heath Ledger back in 2008, just months before The Dark Knight would premiere, and while filming the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, Ledger accidentally took a lethal combination of pills and passed away. For the Dark Knight cast, the loss was a major shock. Christian Bale was directly impacted by it, as he worked side by side with Ledger on a daily basis and thought that their bond would last for years to come in the future. For the production of the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, 3 actors had to fill in Ledger's role to finish the movie. Jude Law, Colin Farrell, and Johnny Depp all helped to fill in for Ledger, a challenge the actors took on as they tried to honor him. Farrell spoke about how painful it was to step into Heath's shoes. Bill Murray's Hollywood breakout didn't come alone. He had many stars rise with him, including Harold Ramis, the genius behind hits like Ghostbusters. Back in the 80s, Ramis and Murray seemed inseparable as they worked on various National Lampoon projects, Meatballs, Caddyshack, Stripes, the first 2 Ghostbuster movies, and the cult classic Groundhog Day. Then the duo had a major falling out, one that was so bad, they wouldn't speak to each other for years. It wasn't until Ramis was on his deathbed that Murray reconciled with his former friend. The two spent years apart from each other, and Murray wound up with some major regrets after Ramis passed. Murray is now more willing to return to his roots and directly honor his friend. He also appeared in the 2016 Ghostbusters remake and has also been confirmed for an appearance in the upcoming Ghostbusters Afterlife. While he may not be co-starring with Ramis, he feels his presence in every aspect of the production and looks at his other acting relationships with a whole new light. With only 2 weeks of filming left on The Hunger Games: Mockingjay Part 2, actor Philip Seymour Hoffman suddenly passed away due to a drug overdose. The actor's loss was major Hollywood news, but hit the cast and crew of The Hunger Games even harder. The actors were so impacted by the loss that production shut down for a day and everyone got the chance to regroup. When filming was set to resume, the challenge became greater for the actors. While Jennifer Lawrence could separate the characters from the actors, she spent a good amount of time waking up each morning and having the realization hit her that Hoffman was truly gone. And then, she had to act in scenes where a stand-in or stunt double was part of the background. There were multiple times when she would turn around and think she actually saw Hoffman on set. Not only did she have to deal with the trauma herself, but felt the grief and empathy for the actor who had to step into Hoffman's shoes for those challenging scenes. Comedic actor John Ritter found fame as a star of the sitcom Three's Company, and then decided to return to his sitcom roots for 8 Simple Rules back in 2002. Midway through the 2nd season of the show, Ritter suffered from aortic dissection and passed away. The loss was tremendous for the actors on the show, including actress Kaley Cuoco, who would go on to star on CBS's Big Bang Theory. After a hiatus, the show decided to return and turned Ritter's real-life passing into a replica storyline for the show, so actors like Cuoco not only had to deal with the loss of Ritter, but had to display their emotions and heartbreak on screen for the fictional character. Actress Katie Sagal had to go beyond the film set and testify for him in a wrongful death suit that ended up going to trial. The stars went on to continue the series, but Ritter's presence was always felt and became an essential part of the on-screen storylines. Cuoco says that she still thinks about him every day and has naturally found a lot of inspiration for her comedic roles in shows and movies. 8 Simple Rules wasn't the only show to deal with a major loss of a cast member. Fox's Glee also lost a main character when actor Corey Monteith passed away in 2013 due to a toxic mixture of heroin and alcohol. Glee was set to begin production on its 5th season just a few weeks after his passing, but filming was postponed until August of 2013. The loss of Monteith hit the cast hard, but none more than Lea Michele, who was dating him at the time. The show's future was put on her, and Michele had the tough decision to decide whether she would go back on with the series or take a step back. She ultimately decided that Monteith would want her to continue her acting career, and she decided to continue on with the show. Like 8 Simple Rules, the show had his character Finn pass away, and Michele honored him through the episode The Quarterback.
I can still see his face, and I can hear his voice so clearly. Do you think that I'll ever forget it?
Michele used Glee to help heal through the pain, but now her time in the breakout series is forever changed as she looks back on the series with more grief and loss than she would ever have expected. How were you impacted by some of these celebrities perishing? Which one impacted you the most? Which one were you most surprised by? Was it hard to watch movies like The Dark Knight, Mockingjay Part 2, or Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and subscribe to Screen Rant for more great content.